And the last review that we'll do in this lesson here is using slope to determine our parallel and perpendicular lines. So we know lines are parallel, and here we say if and only if their slopes are equal. So the slope of the first, m1, equals the slope of the second, m2. So next to this one, underneath parallel, let's just write equal slopes. We know that one, we've seen it before, we've worked with it before. And then perpendicular. See what they have as a definition from the book. Lines are perpendicular if and only if their slopes are negative reciprocals. Okay, we usually say opposite reciprocals. That might be the terminology that you're familiar with. It means the same thing. So opposite refers to one positive, one negative. Reciprocal refers to flipping the fraction. Perfect. Nice and easy here. So let's look at our examples. Find the slope-intercept form. Again, they're telling you slope-intercept form, so that's what we want, y equals mx plus b. Of the equations of the line that pass through the point, so we're given a point to -1, so that's an x1, y1, and are parallel to and perpendicular to the line. So we're in these directions, they want two things. So it's like if I were to take this and say 6a, I want a parallel line equation, and then b, I want a perpendicular equation. So it's just asking for two things there, and then it gives us the line. Okay. Well, in order to know either of these, we have to know the slope. So to find the slope, we need to take the equation that we have, so this is what we need to do first, and solve for y so that we have the slope that we can use. So if we take our equation and we solve for y, subtract the 2x over, bring down -3y, -2x, +5 there. Remember, we cannot combine those. They are not like terms. I like to write the x value first. You do not have to. And divide by -3. And if we simplify then, here we have -2 divided by -3, so it's going to be positive. 2/3 doesn't simplify. Leave it as the fraction. And then again, the y-intercept is going to be -5/3. Now, in this case, the y-intercept doesn't matter. We need the slope. So the slope is 2/3. That's what we're going to use. So then when we do our perpendicular and our parallel lines, we know the slope of our parallel line has to be the same. So the slope is going to be 2/3. The slope for our perpendicular line has to be the opposite, so negative, and the reciprocal. So we're going to use -3/2. Now the other piece of information they give us is the point. So we need to start in point slope form. So we'll do y minus our y1 value, which was -1, so +1, equals our slope we're going to use as 2/3, and then x minus the x1, which is 2. And because we want slope-intercept form, just like before, we have to solve here. So let's see what we get. Distribute the 2/3. So we get 2/3x, and then minus. Now think of this 2 as a 2/1. So we take 2 times 2, which is 4, and then 3 times 1, which is 3. And then to solve for y, we would subtract 1. So we get y equals 2/3x. And then if we take -4/3 minus 1 is 3/3. So that would be -7/3. And there's the equation that is parallel to the given line through that specific point. And then we can do the exact same thing with perpendicular. We'll use our point slope form. We'll use the point to -1, but this time we want a -3/2 slope. So for this one, we'll get y minus our y1, which was a -1, so y plus 1 again, -3/2 for our slope, and then x minus 2. So if we solve this one, I'm running out of room here a little bit, we get y plus 1 equals -3/2x, put that 2/1, so negative times a negative is positive, 6/2, which is 3. That works out nice. I'm going to move my work over a little bit here. So this is subtract 1, y equals -3/2x, and then this is 3 minus 1, which is a +2. There's our perpendicular line. So it's all about the slopes there for parallel and perpendicular. And then an application here, the sales for Best Buy were approximately $49.7 billion in the year 2009 and $50.3 billion in the year 2010. Using only this information, write a linear equation that gives the sales in terms of the year and then predict the sales in 2013. So we want our equation to give the sales. So we want, when we write our y equals, we want the y to represent what the sales are. And then we have in terms of the year, so we have the years 2009 and 2010. And then in our equation, those will be our x value. But we can say, let's let x equals 9 represent 2009. So then we can just use 9 and 10 instead of 2009 and 2010. So our ordered pairs, the information we have, we're told that the sales were $49.7 billion in 2009. So our time, remember, is our x. So for our ordered pair, we can say in 2009, so just 9, the sales, which are the y values, would be 49.7. And then the other piece of information they give us here, that in 2010, the sales were about 50.3 billion. So there's our ordered pairs we can use. And to write an equation, we need our slope. And then we can use our point slope form, and we have a point. And so we have 2 points to choose from. We can pick either of them. So let's go ahead and find the slope between these two. So we know our slope formula, m equals y2 minus y1, so 50.3 minus 49.7, divided by x2 minus x1, so just 10 minus 9. This will give us 0.6 divided by 1, which is just then 0.6. So there's the slope we want to use, and then we can use any of the points to substitute into point slope form. I'm just going to use the first one. Either way, we should get the same answer. So then if we use our point slope form, that y minus y1 equals mx minus x1, then we would end up with y minus our y value, 49.7, equals our slope, 0.6, and then x minus x1, which was 9. And we want to solve for y. The most common way we see any sort of equation is y equals. So let's go ahead and distribute 0.6x minus, and then if we multiply 9 times 0.6, you get 5.4. And then we can just add on over the 49.7. And if we do that, we get plus 44.3. So this is the equation we can use to find the sales, because remember, recap from before, the y value are the sales, the x value is the year. So we could substitute in any year here and figure out what the sales should be, right? This is an estimate. This is based off of the data that we have. So if I want to find then and estimate the sales for the year 2013, we would let x equal 13. And if we did that, we would get 0.6 times 13 plus that 44.3. And if you just go ahead and type that all in your calculator, that gives you about 52.1. And also remember that our sales were representing billions. So about $52.1 billion of sales in the year 2013. Good. Then the rest of the notes here, you just have kind of a general summary of different forms of equations of lines. We typically focus in on the 2 here, numbers 4 and 5. But those are all there as options to use. And then there's your assignment. Make sure you're checking those odds in the back of your book or in the ebook. Remember, they're in the A pages. So if you type in A16 and then go from there to find where lesson 2.1 is. If you need anything, let me know.